Welcome to TP Talks. This is Stephanie Milner, Vice President and Customer Experience Strategist with Teleperformance. I hope everyone is settled and ready to begin for a great session with Ebrahim Hyder. I'm pleased to be your moderator for this conversation, and again, we'll have Ebrahim Hyder of Michael Kors. He is with us remotely, so forgive us if they have any human errors in our handoff to one another. Our goal is to create an engaging and insightful look in managing the Michael Kors brand and experience across channels. So before we begin, I wanted to cover a few easy housekeeping items. The webinar is designed to be interactive. You'll see multiple icons at the bottom of your console. If you have any questions, and of course we'd love for you to interact with us, please click on the Q&A widget at the bottom of your console. So as a reminder, we will be accepting questions, so do that anytime during the conversation, and then we'll do our best to address those during our designated Q&A session towards the end. And if there's any left over, we'll do our best also to send out updates on those questions. So there are several related resources available for you to download. We have an ebook on curating the customer experience, and also a white paper on implementing a truly omni-channel customer experience. So please click on the paper widget to download those. And should you have any technical issues, please click on the help widget. It is the box, looks like a question mark. Hopefully you won't have any of those. And if you'd like to reach out to us, you can use the email widget. So first and foremost, what is TP Talks? Well, as curators of the customer experience, we are pleased to bring you this series of webinars called TP Talks. TP Talks was created to help you as curators of customer experience at your companies, to help you learn from best practices, big trends, innovations, and real-world success stories from people like yourself. So speaking of people like yourself, a little about Teleperformance, your host for today's webinar. Teleperformance has been serving leading industry brands for almost 4 decades, with a focus on supporting our clients in about 160 markets around the world. So if you've ever called in for customer care, engaged in a chat, filled out a form, posted online about a brand, chances are we've interacted with you. We support projects for leading companies across verticals and channels, and that includes customer care, technical support, customer acquisition, digital solutions, analytics, back office, and other specialized services to ensure consistent and positive customer interactions. So why do I share that with you? Well, because Teleperformance is committed to partnering with our clients to find innovative ways to manage obstacles, and we're committed to helping the client succeed. So this webinar is a reflection on our commitment to that very concept. Our placement in leadership quadrants by well-respected market analysts and clients reiterates the results of our hard work and delivery to the Teleperformance mission to transform passion into excellence. And being recognized by many of our clients for the ability to help curate that customer experience and make a palpable difference to their brand, we are thrilled to feature one such brand on today's webinar, and that is Michael Kors. So today you'll hear from Michael Kors on how they manage the customer experience across all channels, and that does, of course, include the contact center. And in this session, Ebrahim Hyder, Vice President, Consumer Support, he'll share Michael Kors, how they've created this incredible immersive environment in its contact center, and they've done this through recruiting, training, and motivation of the front line. Further, Ebrahim will explain how they have applied Covey's The 4 Disciplines of Execution to customer experience, and how that's really helped them separate themselves in delivering CSAT and quality. If you haven't met Ebrahim Hyder in the past, he is the Vice President of Consumer Support for Michael Kors, and he has responsibility for delivering exceptional customer service experiences for the iconic brand and sales support across brick and mortar and online distribution channels. He has a high-performing bilingual team that services both the U.S. and Canada, and that's done both onshore and through nearshore locations. And Ebrahim's career spans 20 years in leadership roles across the United States, Europe, and South Africa. We're especially excited about the TP Talks with Ebrahim because the intimate look he offers in providing the Michael experience, and further, he is truly an exceptional professional and human being. So before Ebrahim does kick off, as a reminder, if you have any questions, please click on the Q&A icon at the bottom of your console and submit your question, and we'll get to them at the designated Q&A session. So that said, welcome, Ebrahim.
Thank you, Stephanie. Thanks for that lovely introduction. And I'm truly humbled and honored to be part of the TP Talks program and to have the opportunity to share my experiences and learnings with the hope that, everyone on this call will probably learn from my experiences. The agenda for today is really threefold, right? I'll be talking about how we created an immersive environment, our recruiting, training, and retention approach, and then how we manage the customer experience, specifically as it relates to applying the 4 disciplines of execution to managing CSAT and first call resolution, and I'll also give you a sneak peek in how we evolved our quality assurance program. So, when it comes to creating an immersive environment, when I came on board Michael Kors just over 4 years ago and I experienced the energy in our stores, I said, my goal for the call center is very straightforward. I want the contact center to be a seamless extension of that great retail store experience. It's a very lofty goal, and I needed to figure out how do I go about creating an environment that would allow our style consultants, we call our agents style consultants, how we would allow our style consultants to feel like they're truly part of the brand and deliver a similar experience to what our customers can expect in our stores. This is especially hard if you think about style consultants being immersed or stuck in a call center for 8 hours a day. So we set about to create this immersive environment that looks and smells and sounds like a Michael Kors store. So from a look perspective, it was a fun and an eye-opening experience for me, certainly. What I was given is a blank slate in terms of the floor plan. So I took the floor plan to our retail design and construction team, and I said, hey, guys, can you help us create an environment that looks like a store? And they really stepped up to the plate and came up with a solution and an environment that resulted in us having the flooring, for example. We have upgraded carpeting that is the exact same carpeting in our stores. The color of the wall paint is the exact same Benjamin Moore color. Our cubes, we upgraded our cubes to be wider with lower glass panels to create a very open feel. They've designed a showroom for us with the white glossy floating shelves and ballet bars to display our ready-to-wear clothing. We have on our call center floor, we have a couple of mannequins and display tables so we can display our most current floor set. If you've ever been into our stores, you may see that we have these zebra print benches. Well, I was able to acquire some of those. And then in addition to that, we have big screen TVs that show our current or most recent runway shows and some additional branding. So once we had the whole look perfected, I needed to create a very specific sound for the call center. So if you ever in our stores, you'll always see that there's a great energy. We have music playing. So what we did was we partnered with a third-party company that provides streaming audio to our stores, and we have that same audio being pumped into our call center. It's very untraditional. I know call centers normally have white noise in the background. Well, not at our call center. We have the same playlist playing that plays in any of our lifestyle stores. In the odd chance that a customer decides to call us from our Fifth Avenue store and call the call center, there's a very good possibility that they'll hear the same soundtrack and song playing in the stores as well as in our call center. So now that we had that sound perfected, the other part we wanted to curate was to create a very specific sound on our IVR, right? And the voice talent. So imagine this. We set up a conference bridge, and me and my team call into the bridge. We have our marketing and our creative services and our editorial team dialing into the bridge. Our call center leader in the call center dials in. And then we had probably about 6 to 7 different voice talents in the studio, one at a time in the studio with a sound engineer. And we gave them a script to read. And they would read it, and then our creative team or the marketing team would pitch in and say, can you do it a little bit slower, a little bit faster, maybe sound a little more uptown, maybe a little more Valley Girl, sexier, huskier, until they were very satisfied that the sound and the voice talent was an accurate reflection of our brand. So we took a lot of time to create that, to contribute to this immersive environment we were creating. And here's some pictures of what it ended up looking like. Usually the top picture is We have serpentine desks. It's not a crammed space at all. You see the lower glass panels. We have the zebra benches. We have one of the runway TVs, and what we call a leaning light box is one of our current promotional marketing images. This next picture is one of our most recent spring floor sets. Just some pictures in the collage kind of give you an idea of what it looks like. But the intent here is if a customer calls us and say, hey, I'm interested in your new Mercer bag, well, the style consultant can just grab one from the table and be able to explain the dimensions, the pockets, the zips, etc. to the customer while on the phone. And the next picture is a picture of our showroom. This is just a small snapshot of it, but you can see the current and older product that come off the floor go into the showroom, and we use the showroom not only for training purposes, but also as an opportunity to incentivize our call center style consultants. So now that we've created this, what we believe to be a very immersive environment, we needed to find the right talent. And we started off by finding an on-site brand ambassador. So this is someone that I hired, a former manager in one of our retail stores. I hired her to come and be a brand ambassador in the call center. And her role is to ensure that we're constantly providing updated floor sets on the floor and providing them with current floor set and new product training, but also training the brand, making sure that they represent the brand correctly, the correct voice is being used at all times. In addition to that, when we do recruit, we obviously use local colleges and the usual recruiting channels. But part of the interview process requires candidates who move on to the second or the third interview to create a lookbook with various lifestyle scenarios. So we could say, create a lookbook for a busy mom or a working professional or, maybe a New York socialite. And we wanted them to come and present that to us. And in addition, we'll take them into the showroom and allow them to do role plays with different products, try and sell us anything from one of our showroom shelves. When it came to the recruiting element, though, I have to say we kind of stumbled in the beginning. So for me, the lessons learned here is that we need to recruit with the end goal in mind. What we did at the beginning was we hired our first 2 training cohort groups when we just started were folks from the art and design center, the fashion industry, retail associates. And we were really pumped because they looked phenomenal. We felt truly representative of the brand. But once they were on the floor taking calls and spending 8 hours in a chair, we soon started realizing that this is probably not the right hiring profile because they had no understanding of basic call center protocol. It just wasn't a good fit. So we changed our hiring profile and ended up recruiting people that might not look like runway models, but they truly knew great service, were very empathetic, and that was what we were looking for. So that was our lessons learned when it came to recruiting. And now that we've felt like we create this great environment and we've recruited the right talent, we needed to provide them with what we believe to be exceptional training. So our new hires go through a 2-week training curriculum that has 18 modules, including the introduction to the brand, a lot of product knowledge around our handbags and small leather goods and apparel, as well as Jet Set training. And you'll hear Jet Set throughout this presentation. And Jet Set is really our retail sales training program that focuses on developing and enhancing the relationship with the customer. We also call it clienteling. And Jet Set is a very, very high energy interactive training module where the trainees learn about Michael Kors the man, his personal views on customer service and its importance and how it relates to the brand. And then we talk about Michael moments, and I have a slide that will touch on that after this, but we'll talk about Michael moments, which is part of the Jet Set training. And after their 2-week curriculum, they spend about a week in nesting, sometimes longer if we have any stragglers that need a little bit more TLC. So I mentioned earlier about jet set training. Jet set training really touches on what we call Michael moments. So in the word Michael, there's obviously the 7 letters, and each letter represents a specific part of the clienteling and relationship building process. For example, the M would be, this is where we get to meet and get to know the customer, right? When they contact us, are they being exposed to an atmosphere that has high energy, lots of sound, has a great feel? Do we perpetuate the brand identity? When it comes to, for example, the H, hiking up the sale, right? We've already established some type of rapport with the customer. If they've decided on one particular item, now we can upsell. Do we add an additional item to help them accessorize? And then, for example, the L would be the life after the sale, truly the clienteling piece where we want to surprise and delight and create lifelong brand loyalists. We also use this opportunity if there's any opportunity for an emotional Michael connection on the call. So if the customer had any specific life event or anything specific that we feel is important, we would reach out to our brand ambassador, and she will handwrite out a card and send a little gift to the customer to congratulate or console or whatever. So those are some of the Michael moments, which are some of very specific to us and how we like to train to build lifelong cause addicts. In addition, we want to retain the best talent as well. So what are we doing to keep these folks and prevent them from leaving? Well, many of our style consultants, they love working for us, but they may not always be able to afford our product. So we give them a clothing allotment. Once a year, they're able to select from multiple items, and we just give it to them because we want them to feel like they're part of the brand and they can wear the product as well. We do provide reward and recognition programs. We have one running every month where they can win money, gift cards, product. One of the most sought-after prizes is a walk through our showroom where they can walk through the showroom and choose one of our products if it does fit them. And then finally, we extend a very generous employee discount to our style consultants so they can take advantage of buying online. So now that we've created this environment, we've recruited them, we've trained them, and we're trying to keep them, what are we doing to actually now truly manage that customer experience? For us, the one thing we focused on was making sure that we increase our customer satisfaction and drive high first call resolution. So we set ourselves a very ambitious goal, right, which was to increase first call resolution by 5% within 3 months. Now, obviously, increasing FCR, obviously the impact there is obviously reduced customer callbacks, lower cost, and eventually increased customer satisfaction. So now how did we actually do this? Well, we leveraged Covey's 4 disciplines of execution, and it's a very simple, repeatable formula for executing on strategic priorities, especially for leaders. It has 4 basic principles. The first one is, they call it focus on the wig. And wig is not the hairpiece on your head, but in this case, it's an acronym for a wildly important goal, right? So focus on that one goal that will make a significant difference instead of giving just a mediocre effort to several other goals. It also trains the person to focus on this wildly important goal and don't get caught up in what is called the whirlwind. The whirlwind is the day-to-day things you get involved in, trying to, put out fires, deal with customer escalations. No, the wig is specifically to allow you to focus on that one item and not get distracted by what's happening around you. The second discipline is act on the lead measure. So what are these measures or these measures that will allow you to track progress towards your wildly important goal? For us, our lead measures to help us achieve our increase in first call resolution was to provide targeted training on a regular basis, and we tracked it on a weekly and a monthly basis, and also to see an increase in our quality assurance scores. To us, those 2 lead measures would eventually result in an increase in the lag measure, which was the 5% increase in FCR. The third discipline is to keep a compelling scoreboard, and this is probably the most visual, fun part of this entire process. For us, we created the scoreboard that showed our WIG, which was, our wildly important goal was to improve customer satisfaction by increasing FCR from 83 to 88%. You see it on the board there. The two thermometers on the left and the right showed our FCR for last week and for the month to date. We had a little tracker that showed, what our percentage was, and we gave it a little, airline analogy. Are we in the coach class, business, first class, or are we in jet set class? And then at the bottom, you see our two lead measures, which is the training and the QA. And then the fourth discipline is create a cadence of accountability. This is just a really fancy term for saying, hey, you know what? You need to meet with your core team members, meet on a weekly basis, have a 15 to 20-minute call, and each one on that call has to commit to one commitment or one action that they will do that week to help drive the initiative forward. And it has to be something that's achievable, or somewhat achievable. If it's not achievable, we don't encourage them to carry it over to the next week. But one commitment that they feel they can achieve that will contribute to the overall goal. And by the end of this exercise, my team and I combined completed a total of 174 individual commitments. When looked in isolation, may seem like, how does this even drive an increase in first call resolution? But collectively and combined over a period of 12 months, we saw our end result, which was the ability to move from 83 to 88% FCR, and currently we're trending at 89%. So it was a great exercise, and I would really encourage the attendees to look into this. It's something easy for you to do, and then it brings good discipline to yourself, and if you have any team members that you want to mentor or coach, it brings some good rigor to your process. As we draw to the end of my presentation, I want to talk about, we've had this very lofty goal of delivering an amazing, seamless experience in the call center and delivering on the Jet Set promise, but we needed to validate that we actually are doing that and delivering on the service promise. And we did that through our QA program, right, our quality assurance program. So when we started about three and a half years ago, we developed a QA program with the intention of tracking, measuring, analyzing, and improving our service based on call monitoring. And, we had the usual suspects in our QA form, which was the intro, verification, communication skills, call handling, etc. But the outcome resulted in very long evaluations. These evaluations took so long to complete, the QA team was drained after just a couple of evals. We missed our QA goals in terms of how many calls we were going to evaluate. And because it took so long, it didn't allow us much time for any trend analysis. So we said, okay, let's take a step back and redo our evaluation in our QA program, right? So we combined some common areas, removed some of the non-critical elements in our form. The result was that, it allowed us to do more evaluations and eventually identify trends. And the trends were very telling because we determined that there was very low energy on the call, even though we touted ourselves as a high-energy brand. They weren't asking lifestyle questions, and they weren't closing the sale. So coaching helped improve the QA scores, but we found a disparity between the QA scores and what we were actually hearing on the calls. There just seemed to be a disconnect. So what we did was we took a third attempt at our QA form, and it's a little bit cut off here, so I'll kind of talk to it. We revised our QA form to be broken down into 4 specific areas. Everything that's customer critical, like, the soft skills, empathy, etc. Then business critical, like first call resolution. Are they using their tools correctly? And are they delivering on the Jet Set experience? There was a compliance piece in the QA form as well, where we needed to make sure that they were always verifying the customer's identity, connecting and transferring correctly. And we added a 4th element called Wow Me. Completely subjective, but it was for the quality assurance coordinator to say, did that style consultant leave the customer feeling like they were a loyal fan? Did they really wow the customer on that call? And we eventually evolved from our first take, where we had 27 scoring elements, down to only 15. and I'm sorry the last bullet got cut off there, but we've also included a pay-for-performance program. We've just done this about 2 months ago, and it's still early days, but we're seeing a nominal increase. We're definitely seeing more wow calls. So I think if I revisit this in a couple of months' time, I'm hoping to see a significant improvement. And Stephanie, in conclusion, I would just like to leave the attendees on today's call with a couple of thoughts. I certainly believe that we need to start with the people, hire the right talent. Again, don't make my mistake where I want to hire to a certain look, but it didn't deliver on the end result. Again, recruit with that end goal in mind and treat them well. If you can and you're able to and you have control over it, create a great and engaging immersive environment. Obviously, provide them with exceptional training. Leverage technology to the best of your ability. And finally, remain curious and continuously improve. The fact that all of you are on this call today is testament to the fact that you are curious and you want to learn and you want to improve. So with that, Stephanie, I will hand it over to you, hoping that my experiences provided some ideas and aha moments to the attendees today.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Ebrahim, which is why I absolutely love the Michael Kors product, because I feel like it's genuine and from its product all the way through to its people. So appreciate your passion, your commitment in delivering that Michael experience to everyone. We have such great content. We do have time for just 1 to 2 questions. So we'll ask those, and if there's additional questions, obviously we don't get to, we'll make every effort to get those answers back out to you. So let's start with this question, Ebrahim. You had mentioned WIG, which is that wildly important goal, and you only mentioned training and first call resolution as your wildly important goal. So how important is it to limit the WIG to 2 or less, or to kind of reduce that focus?
Okay, so great question. So actually, I need to clarify, the WIG is just one goal. It's the wildly important goal, and our WIG was to increase first call resolution. That was our goal, right, from 83 to 88%. The training and the QA were our lead measures. So these were the little levers and the dials we used to eventually get to our WIG, which was increasing first call resolution. Ideally, you want to probably have 2 or 3 lead measures or things that you can influence in the beginning to drive an end result of an improved, in our case, first call resolution.
Okay, perfect. And then one of the questions was in regards to leveraging technology, but they wanted more insight as to how you really leverage technology inside of this approach.
Yes. So I wish I could have included in the slide, but I was limited to only a few minutes. But we use a couple of things. The one thing that we've really found very, very helpful is the use of voice analytics. We use a program called Call Miner, where we program very specific key phrases into the application, and we want to hear how many times, for example, during the sales call, are they using transitional statements, are they using closing statements. We encourage our style consultants to always introduce Michael into the conversation, right? So, for example, if the customer is interested in buying the fragrance, we expect the style consultant to tell the customer, hey, did you know that the Michael Kors fragrance bottle actually was designed to look and represent Michael's grandmother's 1970s ashtray. So if you look at the fragrance bottle and you turn it on its side, it's like this big crystal ashtrays. So those are the type of things we program into Call Miner, so that when we play back, when we have our one-on-one with our style consultant, we can say, hey, you're doing great in introduction and closing, but you're struggling a little bit in your transitional statements, or you're not introducing Michael into the conversation, etc. So that's one way we use technology. We also use, we've just started working, trying to elevate the ability for customers to self-serve through the IVR as well by doing Wizmo order tracking. So there's a couple of things, and I'll be glad to send additional information if anybody else wants to know more.
Thank you so much. So we have clearly run out of time. Unfortunately, there's so much to talk about, but there were a couple of closing items that we wanted to make sure everyone was aware of. One, there will be an on-demand version of the webcast. That's about a 1 day out, so we'll send that to you, and you can share this with your peers and colleagues as you think they would find it valuable. We also want to make sure that you're aware that we have our next TP Talks, which will be curating the customer experience, and that's scheduled for 2 p.m. Eastern on July 20th. And that'll be featuring Frost & Sullivan and Everest Group, and that registration link is available to you, and that registration link will be sent out to you as well. And then just as a reminder from early in the conversation, if anyone wasn't online before we got started, that we do have an ebook that covers curating the customer experience. We have a white paper, which is implementing a truly omni-channel customer experience. And again, we'll have that registration link for our next webinar, TP Talks on curating the customer experience. Again, thank you so much. Ebrahim, we can't tell you how much we appreciate your time and partnership. It's certainly exciting to have a leader in customer experience like Michael Kors not only tell us what you're doing, but how you're doing it, and then you're being so transparent in how you close the gaps and those inconsistencies on your goals and that creation of the Michael experience. So thank you everyone so much for your time, and we certainly look forward to hosting you again in another TP Talks.